Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ben Jeffreys, and I'm the Programme Manager for Time to Change Wales. I'm delighted to be joined today by Dragons rugby player Ashton Hewitt, and we're really grateful for Ashton giving up his time to talk with us about a very important subject today. Now, Ashton, you are widely known as a rugby player for the Dragons, but you're equally known for speaking out about your experiences of racism. Can you just start by telling us what impact these experiences have had on your mental health, please?
I think they've had a pretty big impact, to be honest. I've never been one to think of myself as struggling with my mental health. But with lockdown, and I received a lot of racial abuse online, on Twitter, on different social media platforms, regarding the things that I'd say about racism and my experiences. And it was very hard to take. It was in the media, in the news. There were headlines about things that were tweeted at me, things that I would say, and my phone was just constantly going and going and going. And I wasn't somebody who would always be on my phone like that. I wasn't too active on social media, so it was really my first experience of being as involved on the platform as I was. And I just felt like it was just eating up my time. I couldn't not look, because it was things that were being said about me and to me, and I was always looking, and it just got me really down. The things that were being said, my mum and my sister could see, so I was seeing them get down because of the way that I'd been treated, and it was just really hard. It was really hard to put up with what I was putting up with, but it was also quite strenuous on my mental health, because every time that I've spoken online about my experiences and the racism that I've received throughout my life, it's me reflecting on my entire life and some of the pain and upset that I've been through and my family's been through. I just got extremely down, to be honest. That's the best way I could put it. I wasn't really motivated to do much. Trying to finish my dissertation for my master's at the time, and I was going through a stage where I just couldn't really bother to do anything. I was just upset a lot, and it was quite difficult to deal with.
Now, I understand this is one of the first times you've spoken openly about your challenges with your mental health. I mean, looking back, what was your biggest concern about speaking out generally about racism, and how did others around you react? Was there a lot of concern for you, or a lot of encouragement? Just talk us through that process of what you went through.
Um, I I never I yeah I didn't want to. I never sort of self-diagnose myself with anything, and um, I'm not sure if basically the way I felt was that I'd be a little bit. Oh, I don't even know the right words to say, to be honest. I didn't really feel if it was justified for me to talk about my mental health, and that I might have been struggling with anything. I think my mum and people around me could see how down I was. They got quite worried. Um, I was injured through a lot of it as well, so there were things just adding up. Um, and I think the biggest concern was that I still wanted to carry on with what I was doing and having the conversations that I was having. But it took me a while to sort of learn how to manage myself, if that makes sense. And I think maybe the concern was that I wouldn't be able to do what I felt needed to be done, and have these conversations that are educating people and so on and so forth, whilst being able to protect my mental health and take that downtime, and sort of really understand myself in that aspect. And like I said, it wasn't affecting just me, it was affecting the people around me, and their concern and worry about me, because my mum said that she'd never seen me as down as um, I had been at those times, especially when I'd injured my knee as well. So um, it was all a bit concerning, really. It wasn't a nice place to be in.
Yeah, and I think we've learned a lot about this in recent months through the research we've performed, and we now know really that stigma surrounding mental health can be a massive barrier to people speaking out. I mean, what do you think can be done to tackle stigma amongst Black, Asian, and minority ethnic communities?
Um, I've had to think about this, and I think it's the same. I think it's the same things that need to be done to tackle stigma in general. To be honest with you, in terms of normalizing conversations, making people feel comfortable, um, stop all the negative connotations surrounding mental health and those sorts of things. Obviously, the research says what it says, but from my experience, I think it's going to be many of the same issues that that the whole of society faces in terms of confronting mental health and the conversations around it. So the biggest one for me would be education, normalizing, signposting, and those sorts of things really.